Thank you for listening to the Content Magazine podcast, Conversations with Silicon Valley's Creatives. I'm Daniel Garcia, your host and the cultivator of Content Magazine, published by SV Creates.
Hello, welcome to the Content Magazine, published by SV Creates. This is Daniel Garcia. I'm the host and the cultivator of Content Magazine, and we are here today with David E. Valdespino Jr., the developer.
That's me.
The developer of Content Magazine.
Yeah.
And say hi.
Hello.
So before we get going, hey, what have you been up to just in the last? Well, let's what have you been up to in the last time we did a podcast, just you and I, which is a year?
About a year. Yeah. I think we did the last one beginning of January for the new year. Been a lot of stuff. Been really busy with obviously the magazine, pickup parties, that kind of stuff, and then in personal life, I went on that bike tour at the beginning of July. Yeah, so that was fun. 4 days, 150 miles with some good friends that I had from college. And just trying to be a little bit more.
The bike ride was where? Where was the?
It was in Eastern Oregon, so east of Mount Hood. It wasn't really high desert, but there was some good alpine climbs out there. So and it was hot. It was 111 on day 3. We packed everything in, water, tents, pots and pans, all that good stuff.
Oh, so. You had tents too?
Oh, yeah.
Just like a small one-man kind of thing? Or?
Some of my friends do, but those are just kind of sweat boxes. They're
the nylon heat sack.
Yeah, so I did just a ground cover, and then they call it a fast fly, where you don't have the zippers, you just have a tarp over you, which is great. But then one night we slept by a lake, and there were all kinds of mosquitoes in it.
So kind of almost like what you see when they do survival thing. You put a rope between two trees. You hang the tarp over the top of it.
Just pretty condensation cover for the most part. But it worked pretty good. I mean, it was warm, it was a good trip. Survived. I hadn't been too physically active before. Been doing run clubs on Mondays though. That was kind of my only training.
They meet over a good
time bar over at Fountain Alley Mondays, 6 o'clock. So. Running is definitely helpful for the lungs, and then done some other group rides and runs. Good time every Monday. I haven't missed one in a long time. They do a Saturday run every other Saturday, and then there's a crew that does a trail run on Tuesdays that I'm going to start doing next week. I think it's at Alum Rock. Yeah, and then I have some friends that are doing Wednesday night road biking rides on the peninsula. So trying to get active again. I was riding a lot. Previous, I spent 10 years in the bike industry, so it was a lot easier to ride when you're around a bunch of people that are riding every day. So
I ride to work all the time.
I've seen you like 2 or 3 times in the last year.
It's changed since we moved office. I admit, but and then art, activities, right? I mean, you of course with Alyssa Ray, she's had a couple shows, but
always
Steven, you DJ'd up at his show that he's doing the Friends up in San Francisco at the what's the name of that joint?
The Midway,
and that's up till when?
Wild venue, that's up for I think 5 weeks, so it'll be running through September. I don't know the exact dates, but that was a super fun show. Steven Longoria, he curated it. He previously had a residency at the Midway, and they brought him back to originally do a solo show, and he's like, let me curate my friends. So it's actually called Friends of Friends. It's all his style, his designs, vinyl cut that he then stuck onto canvases, which super intricate design, super wild.
Crazy.
There's a bunch of folks in there. Rios Magos was in it. Jacqueline De Leon was in the show.
It's a good
Layla
show.
Works over at Makla. She was in the show. So
and he did our design. Our content design.
Also on the t-shirts too.
Yeah,
everybody go pick up your
t-shirt.
Content Mag t-shirt at our next pickup party.
Which is when is our pickup party?
So our next pickup party, 16.4 profiles, is next.
Well, it'll be when this comes out.
Next
it'll
Thursday.
Be tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. August 22nd, 6:30 to 9:30. It's going to be super fun. It's our Content Emerging Artist Award ceremony. So we'll have the award ceremony around 7:30. There's like a pre-party for them, so everybody's getting their flowers on that day. It's going to be
it's gonna be a good time. And then also too, it's for this issue right here. which it might be in your mail by the time you listen to the podcast. When it might not be, but of course, I get one first because I'm the cultivator. And so, so it's going to be the pick-up party at the Mexican Heritage Plaza on Thursday night, the 22nd. And the top kind of thing is what we're doing is this is kind of a big issue, 16.4, because it's the emerging artists that SV Creates and Content Magazine give $5,000 of unrestricted funds to two artists, or various artists, depends on the funding that we have each year. But that is selected by a panel. Of course, they're anonymous and stuff like that. And
amazing panel.
Yeah, they're great panels all the time. And then, of course, we're not a part of it. SV Creates team is not a part of the final selection, which is kind of fun, and I'm glad I'm not. And then this issue, of course, we have Esther, Esther has been involved in the magazine, helping us write and do even kind of like pitching ideas for a number of years now. I don't even know how long. Esther, tag in the messages how long you've been involved in the magazine. But yeah, so just because her music, her community involvement, her writing, and she's so involved in the community, and so they awarded it to her, one of the two. The other one is Elba, Raquel. And so I was super excited to see and be able to feature Esther. And then, of course, we put her on the cover just because I thought it was a fun shot. That's the only reason why it got on the cover.
100%.
We don't have a plan. I don't have a plan of what's going on the cover till I get all the images in, and then I kind of decide. Well, that's not true. Like our next issue, which is going to be 17.1
Discover,
which is we're going to do some kind of stuff on graffiti, and it looks like we'll be able to have King 157 do the cover for us. So I'm super excited about that. We had Rafa this last year do a cover. We had RC do the other cover. So we have some really great art on the cover that the creative director picks throughout this time.
So you're saying there's no like formula for you for how many portraits you want versus how much art you want. It's really just kind of dependent on who's in the issue or like what else kind of.
Yeah, I think for the last one with RC on the cover, I saw his work and I just love his work, and I was like, oh, I'd love to have him on the cover. So that was already it. Same thing with Rafa. I was like, I wanted to put you on the cover. A couple of artists already, when I picked them, I think, I would like to do your work on the cover. So same thing with King 157.
Yeah.
So. But otherwise, if it's not necessarily like an artist, I go, oh, then I kind of think of, which people I might want to put on the cover.
Yeah.
And then usually it's just see how the shoots go. And if it looks like that's going to work, then I go for that. But I do actually for this next year, since we'll be coming up on our 70th issue. So I got some ideas and plans for coming up into doing different covers and stuff like that. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Let's talk about this issue. It's just been buttoned up and out in the mailboxes all around the world. So kind of talking about Esther. The other emerging artist is
Elba Raquel, amazing artist in San Jose. Been around for a long time doing all kinds of different art. I think that's one thing about the emerging artists. I was lucky enough to be able to interview each of them and then able to write their articles for this one. And I think always with the Content Emerging Artist Award, it's always the definition of what emerging means.
Yeah.
And it's so vast. And I think that's one of the great things about the panel that we have. Not that we're like engaging with them regularly or anything, but they all come from different backgrounds in art. Yeah. And that definition of emerging is fairly nuanced, right? It can be the body of work that they're producing. It can be, like this new kind of concept that they're going into. Because, somebody like Elba, who's been doing work for so long, recently has kind of gone full steam into muralism. But even in talking to her, it's during COVID pandemic, right?
Yeah.
Was really when she kind of found her voice and what she was wanting to say with her art, which is, like I said, a little bit more nuanced so far as
and I like that she's in
a
transition too, right? Where she's kind of before she saw herself as her art and her work as a place for her to heal, or it was a healing process, and now she's like, look at how can I celebrate like joy and stuff like that in the work. And so even this issue that she's photographed in front of, there's a piece behind her that kind of represents her kind of like transformation. It's not huge, I don't know what size it is.
Probably 6 foot, yeah.
Yeah, so it's got like in this one side of it, it's got a character like with the spine kind of open, and then another one of her standing kind of with her like aura or something glowing. So it's kind of interesting that it's kind of fun. It's fun to see like when someone finally is awarded because some people apply every year, right? And so it's hard because you can only pick a few. So unfortunately, you can't have everybody. But it's cool to see like how it kind of mysteriously synchronizes with something that's going on in their life that's like really positive. She kind of even had like a vision board of creating some finances and stuff from her art, and like this kind of like, so it's fun to see those kind of things happen.
And even, as somebody that's been doing art for so long, like Elba, even in talking with her, she had, thought about being in a magazine or being published or whatever, but she specifically said like now is the time, like that I feel like I'm ready to do that. Like if it had happened before, it wasn't the art and her messaging and all of that kind of stuff wasn't where it is now, and so she feels really, like you said, it coalesces in an interesting way that just kind of works.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's just back to that idea of emerging, right? I do think that or the panel at least is looking for people who have a little bit of a track record. I think the big kind of key in it, especially if people are going to apply for the future, and I hope you do because we want to honor as many people as we can, but it's kind of like there's kind of like a evidence or an evidence that they're dedicated to moving to the next level as an artist.
Yep.
So it might not just be an emergent, you just kind of showed up and you're doing stuff. And a lot of times, younger or newer artists or people just launching, they're kind of like doing multiple things where it's not kind of like focused. And so I know that the panel looks at that. And so like you can see that with Esther, what she's starting to do with her music, like she's really been more consistent with it and doing more open mics and helping organize stuff. And so I think that's the same thing with Elba too. And I think that's what differentiates that emerging. We want to help people on that cusp, like to help them go to the next level.
Yeah, and even with Esther too. I mean, it's kind of like the depth of the work that she's producing, because it's not only singles and EPs and albums and such, but music videos. She's done 2 or 3 music videos recently, along with all the shows and working with the community. And one of the cool kind of Easter eggs with Esther's music videos is she actually worked with Jezreel Gandara, who was the emerging artist previously, and that was before she got this award and before all of that. And so, but she had said for a long time, like Jezreel was somebody that she really wanted to work with, and so it's kind of cool to see that kind of ecosystem kind of.
And for me, it's like definitely. For me, as the vision of starting the magazine, it's like a dream come true, because the idea was to support the local artists. And then being able to give some artists some funding is just like, I think being published in a magazine, us doing the podcast, doing social media, all that kind of stuff for the artists is big, and giving recognitions in this area that doesn't have a lot of press for artists. But then being able to give an award, so that's awesome. So if you're a funder out there like Adobe or Apple, give us money so we can give it to the artist.
Yeah.
Little plug for that. So that's the emerging artist, so that's super cool. Esther's going to be playing.
Yeah.
And Elba with T.
Well, Elba on her own as Elba. So let's just go through the pickup party,
Let's
right?
go through it. Yeah.
So it's definitely been a process. I'd say I got the earliest start on this pickup party, planning it and getting folks wrangled, probably like 2.5 months out, right? Yeah. Which is a blessing and a curse, right? Because you get everybody booked, and then you kind of hope everybody remembers, and then when it's time to rock and roll, you hope everybody can just kind of jump too. So, but so far as activations go, shout out to the School of Arts and Culture, Mexican Heritage Plaza, really gave us like a blank canvas. The pavilion, the plaza, the gallery, which is like a really exciting opportunity to activate the gallery, not only for that night, but it's going to run through September 15th.
Okay. Awesome.
So if you can't make it to the pickup party, you'll have time to check it out. But
why would somebody not make it to the pickup party?
I mean,
there's no excuse.
Out of town, something.
You come
like
back in town.
But yeah, so the gallery is going to be activated with folks that are featured in the issue. Elba is bringing some kind of large-scale pieces as the 2024 Content Emerging Artist. One of her pieces is what she calls like that quintessential Elba Raquel piece, her Mexicanas Unidas piece, which is just massive scale, beautiful. So there'll be a series of those, and then in the gallery we're also going to have Stephanie Metz, who's bringing some of her.
And she has a show opening up September 15th, I think, at the Triton.
At the Triton Museum, and it's going to be massive. The 20-foot felted wall that she's working on,
crazy.
It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, even though you're talking about the pick-a party, but just like her kind of like reformatting or expressing pink. Is kind of fun. Anyways, so that's the Triton. But anyways, back to the pick-a party.
No, and that just to piggyback on that, like that. Yeah, read that article front to back because that's it's
great,
very enlightening. So, but in the gallery we'll have Elba, we'll have Stephanie Metz, we have Alyssa Wygant, who's bringing some pieces.
Who just, as you mentioned them, I'm just going to talk about a little. Who has been on my list of one of the peoples to feature, and I have a list that's like heck long, and sometimes it's just like it's just not going to fit this issue, and I kick it down the road. And so she was one that's been on there for a few years. Yeah, which is kind of fun because she's done like a mural for the earthquakes, and then also we have Theo, who was in the issue from Stay Brown, who also is like a graphic designer for the earthquakes. But we're back to the pick-a party of what's going to happen in the.
No, I mean that's a good segue because Theo is also going to be bringing a piece into the gallery, which will be super fun. In addition, he's going to be tabling out there. Also, he says he has a full rack of clothing from Stay Brown that he'll have out there on the plaza. So. And then we also had a feature on SJSU Photography 125, which is a particular course taught by Jonathan Fung.
Who, by the way, Jonathan Fung I've known since like the 80s or whatever. He worked he was like a men's booker for a fashion agency, local fashion agency, Halverson Models, and I used to shoot for them, so I've known him for a long time. But the one sad thing on this is, there's like 18 students and, just page count and all the kind of stuff to kind of fit them all in. So we just did the 2, 4, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, the 6 kind of top images of that. And they're really super talented. So I'm excited about that. So they're going to be displaying in the gallery as well.
Yeah, I think we have 4 of the 6 students that'll be dropping off work, anywhere from 2 to 3 pieces. Yeah. And then most exciting about the gallery also is that we're partnering with Works San Jose, Joe Miller, to help install and curate the place and get it all nice and tidy. So Works does not only their own gallery on 2nd Street at Open San Jose, but they do a lot of the activations over at the Mexican Heritage Plaza.
You could see their promo in there. If you don't know the Works, go by.
Oh yeah, most definitely, and go talk to Joe. He's such a great guy. So
he's such a supporter of the arts. I know. For years and all that.
Yeah. And so really looking forward to working with him on that. And so, so that's the gallery. In addition, like I said, there's going to be a pre-party, which is, invite only. But we have Good Time Bar, again, plug for Good Times. Steven and Ann, they're going to be coming through.
Steven was on our podcast a while ago. Yeah, you did the podcast of that.
Yep, with Steven. And then, kind of spilling out into the plaza, we have activation with TWC, Together We Create, which Elba is a part of. Yeah. And so they've offered to bring in some of their giant mural panels. If you haven't seen them, these big cubes that they do original artwork on. So really excited to have that in the kind of big plaza, which we're not fully activating, but we wanted to kind of create a bridge that goes from the pavilion stage to the gallery so that we can get some traffic going back and forth. Yeah.
Also, too, just go back. So in the gallery, it is going to be the pre-party, invite only for the award, kind of like our board and some confunders and stuff like that, and other guests.
And the emerging artists,
the emerging artists. But also, too, we're having sushi or something like that in there.
Yeah, so we have Sushi Roku, which just opened a new location. They have a bunch of locations around. They just opened a location in Palo Alto at the Stanford Shopping Center. Yeah. And so they reached out when they were opening and invited us over and were interested in collaborating. And so it's really fun that it was able to work out. The food is incredible. They're sending over a sushi chef to come serve that pre-party. And although that's invite only, sorry y'all for the sushi, you should definitely go to the restaurant and check them out though. It's worth it, 100%. Yeah. But we will have for the general admission event very special food guest, Mama Rock's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Rochelle.
She's super cool.
Amazing.
Such great energy. Like, she's so fun. And
Yeah, and so she has like this streamline, what do they call those? The airline, the trailers,
what are they? Yeah, Airstream.
Airstream.
It's kind of it's
mini.
It's like a mini Airstream. It's kind of almost like Nitro. I can't remember the name. I'm sorry.
Oh, another vendor.
No, the photographer.
Britt Bradley.
Yeah, Britt Bradley.
Yeah, with Ruby.
And she has the dark room. So this is kind of like someone else and has like a food truck, but it's a cool.
Just total vibes.
And that'll be in the parking lot because you can't pull it into.
Yeah, so we can't pull it in. So she'll have that in the parking lot as kind of
a tour,
advertising for coming in and trying the food. But she does kind of Puerto Rican, kind of South American fusion type stuff.
Yeah.
Comfort food for sure. So
it'll be great. And then, so we'll have some bites and all that kind of stuff to sample, and then people can buy a meal out there and stuff like that. Yeah, and it's funny. I met her, just another connection. I met her for the San Jose Gathering. You know, they do those kind of creative talks and stuff like that. So she was there, and I met her, and I was like, oh my gosh, we have to do something with her.
Yeah, and we've been talking about getting her at a pickup party for a while, but this one finally worked out. So
yeah, that's good. So. Let's see, the pickup party we talked about. We kind of did. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about? One of the fun things that are going to be there, and you could see the fun layout, is liminal space, right? So Wendy, Wes, and
Taylor,
yeah. So tell us a little bit about them, what you know about them, and what are they going to be doing out there?
So Liminal Space Collective is a wild nonprofit org that's really just focused on collaboration and creativity. And I mean, I heard about them probably about a year ago.
Yeah, we went by when we saw them.
Well, even before that, because they took over that church in Santa Cruz.
Oh, did you go down to that?
No, but I was seeing all the promotional materials, First Friday, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I actually had an email thread kind of opened with them, but it was like very surreal seeing the promos for it, because it was this church that was completely converted into this like
art gallery,
creative, dwelling, immersive concert experience. They got together kind of through artist meetups, and then decided that they wanted to do something a little bit longer term. And so in addition to getting together and creating these spaces, they're doing more immersive build outs for like events and such, but they're also doing like classes and bringing people together for like workshops. They just had a show with Idea Fab Labs, who was featured in content a while back.
A couple years ago, they're great too, man. 3D printers and all that kind of stuff. And,
so it's pretty much
in the Wrigley building down there in Santa Cruz, which is super cool.
I know.
A bunch of different Blitz galleries in there. It's like a fun space.
So they're full meal deal on creativity, and for the pickup party, we're lucky enough to have them bring in over the hill some sculptures and giant installations. So they're going to have a booth over in the palm trees in the grassy area, and anything from...
Oh, it's going to be in the it's not going to be right by the gallery.
No, it's going to be over in the grassy area. I think just power, and then also just like making sure that it's kind of cohesive, and I think it kind of connects all the way over there when people are...
And then Wendy, who is a part of the team, she just had stuff at the fairgrounds with One Culture in the mural space, which was pretty cool too. And it's fun to see those connections, going on, and just people, different artists.
Because I'm pretty sure they got connected with One Culture, and I don't know the details, but just from my outside perspective, the Jams brand, who's down in Santa Cruz quite a bit, I met Augie, who's in Jams brand, at Sub-Zero, and did a short little interview. And then I noticed that they were working together. They were actually had a big installation in the church, the Jams brand did.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Seeing Wendy over in Santa Clara, just seeing that kind of like...
I know when I walked in and I saw that Wendy was there, I was like, what? And then I was talking to Andrew about it. I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like, just seeing that. And there's this other thing. I don't know if it's going to happen. I just did an email connection between Wes and Jay, who does Mimbits, which Mimbits is that 3D augmented reality experience.
They did the giant butterflies.
Yeah, they did the butterflies throughout town. So Wes is super open to it, but it's kind of like late in the game just because Jay and I just met. But there might be kind of like fun things where there's going to be some of Liminal Spaces things in different spots around the plaza.
So they will be right by the gallery if that's the case.
They'll be everywhere. So that's kind of that's about a 63% chance that that's going to happen just because of the timeline. But Wes is super excited. I think Jay from Mimbits and Wes from Liminal Space would be a great connection to do stuff. And that article was written by Bree, by the way.
Yeah. Bree Carpavage from First Friday Santa Cruz. So.
Which now, since I transitioned to talking about writers, I want to just give I don't know, I think I'm too old to say a shout out, but I just want to give recognition to Nathan Zanan, who wrote the article about the plaza and their expansion to the avenue, where they're going to kind of bring in some low-income housing and theaters and try to have businesses that really support the community. So Nathan did a great job on this article. So make sure you read this article because you're going to be able to see the passion of Jessica and Vanessa and even Chris Esparza, who we actually dedicate this issue to. Chris Esparza. He was influenced for all of us and definitely the plaza, and he was really kind of like the one spearheading this expansion. So
it also sounded like he did a pretty good job of twisting your arm, saying you got to get this in the magazine.
He didn't twist it, but he wanted me to do it, and I was going to do it. And we talked before the new year, and I said, let me map out when it would fit, and it totally fit into this issue. And it's just kind of a weird thing that he, really wanted this to be in the magazine. Always a supporter of the magazine and the plaza, and then for him to pass away. Sorry, I don't want to cry. So next topic.
And no, but also with Chris. We have a couple great articles about Chris.
Yeah.
Brandon Roos wrote an amazing article.
Yeah.
If you haven't read them, go check them out.
Yeah.
With
the Blackbird Tavern, and what originally, way back in the day when we first started the magazine, even before we went to print, he was, I think it was before he went. Oh no, or maybe it was, I can't remember. But when he was doing West Coast Live,
yeah,
and he was doing the Beer Fest, but he's been involved in San Jose forever. So shout out and blessings to him and his family. So what else we got going on in this issue?
Are we gonna keep going down the pickup party?
Do we got
magazine
more?
Is
there more happening at the pickup party?
Is
there more?
It is an incredible pickup party. I just did the head count roster of how many kittens I had to wrangle for this. I think we have 31 different folks that we're in contact with to get them popped up and activated.
Because it's the vision of the magazine is to support these artists, and it's so great.
And we have 90% of the folks that are featured. And for folks that don't know, pickup parties are supposed to be magazine in real life.
Yeah.
So you can read about them, you can see the pictures, and then you can see them perform and talk to them, and then go hang out with them and schedule a coffee date. That's the goal. So, in addition to the gallery, in addition to Liminal Space and TWC doing massive art installations, we will have a stage inside the pavilion. We'll be doing the Emerging Artist Award ceremony, but we're also having DJ Hen Boogie, the legend, member of the Derelicts.
Did you pitch this one to me, or was it Brandon Roos? Brandon Roos wrote the article.
So it's actually a funny story how I met Henry, and it goes back to Chris, the ultimate connector of people. Yeah. But Chris asked me to DJ a gig in Little Italy at the new speakeasy that's under the Italian History Museum, which is right out front of the Poorhouse. So if you get a chance.
And Bennett played the keys there.
Bennett played. Ham Boogie played. Julius Pat played. But I showed up, and I thought I was just going to be spinning records for 3 people in the bottom. And then we had a meeting over at Signia during one of Tommy's DJ events that he does on Friday nights. And I thought I was just meeting with Chris and Brendan, who was helping organize. And I show up, and there's Henry, and then there's Julius there. And I was like, oh, you're booking me with these guys? Like absolute legends in the DJ scene in San Jose. And just a
So then did you pitch him then to me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's unusual that I let somebody pitch something.
Yeah, especially me. Yeah.
No, it's cool. And as soon as you told me about him, and I'm like, okay. And then I started looking up. I go, yeah, definitely.
And I think
this is great. I'm very honored to actually feature him and have him be in the article and perform. And then Brandon Roos, of course, did a great job, and Stan did a great job on the photos. This was actually done at the new vinyl bar.
Still OG, former location for Original Gravity, which is an awesome vinyl bar.
Yeah, so that's cool.
And Henry's actually doing the booking at Still OG now. So, guaranteed whatever night you go, there's going to be somebody amazing spinning records there. So, but Henry will be holding down the night.
And then in between,
we have 2 bands and a dance performance. One of the bands that'll be playing is Ripplings, a math rock, prog rock band.
I saw that in the article the first time, I was like, math rock? Is this correct? Is this the right thing? Like, I thought it was meth rock.
No, mathematics, yes. Algebra and calculus.
Right.
But they were all friends kind of in the music scene, went to school together, studied music, so they come together and kind of bring that cerebral kind of nature into a really fun jamming rock band. So they'll be performing. And I think the description in the article is really, kind of captures it. It's if rock and jazz kind of got together, right? Like the jazz influence, like jazz has always been mathematical, but they do some really, really fun stuff. So I'm really excited. And
it's fun to see one of their influences, Ian Santillano. How do you say this?
Santillano,
Yeah, Santillano, we featured before. So it's pretty cool. Lauren did the photos, and it takes a whole team. And actually, a new designer just helped us out with this. Sana. So she did the layout for us. Super cool to have her involved now too. So, all right, we got Hin Boogie, we got Esther, we got Ripplings, and then we're gonna have a dance by
House of Inanna, Petra Pino. So House of Inanna belly dance. I actually met Petra at a Sub-Zero also previously.
Yeah.
So to have them,
right. We did a little video.
Yeah, to have them featured in this issue is really fun.
And I'm going to take a little side note on that, which is an interesting thing too. Is that the funny thing is that my wife Sarah was recruited to Roku, which is the TV thing. I don't know what they do. And so Petra is the recruiter. So so another connection, small town, but kind of fun.
Yeah. And Roku, if you want to call us up and tell us what you do, we can.
Call us what to do, and we can make you a partner and a sponsor for
support the arts.
$50,000 a year. So we're gonna have a performance. She's gonna come perform. It's just gonna be her. She's gonna have a couple other folks come out.
I don't know exactly. I know that House of Inanna usually will be a troupe together, but I'm really curious. But I mean, from the wardrobes to the props to everything that they do, it's super.
And she's got a real interesting story too, just about fitting in and being like an American in Germany, and then coming back to America, and then finding her kind of place in dance and the influences that she had from kind of Middle Eastern culture and stuff. So definitely a great article on that too. Make sure you read that. So. I mean, we have Esther, who whispery songwriting skills, to Hin Boogie doing his beats, to dance, belly dancing, and Priya from Mosaic wrote that article. We'll just go give a shout out. And then to Ripplings, who's doing math rock. I mean, friggin' awesome.
Yeah.
And very eclectic.
Yep. Which
I love. Hope you guys appreciate eclectic. So I think we've covered pretty much everything, and I'm kind of moving it along because I'm looking at the clock. We do have we got to talk about the California Native Garden Foundation.
Middlebrook Center,
yeah. Go ahead, you talk about it because...
Yeah, so they'll be popping up. So Alrie Middlebrook founded California Native Garden Foundation just off of the Alameda, which is
it's on Ray Street.
Off of So so they'll be tabling at the event. They'll have some literature so you can go shake their hand and get to know them. But you should definitely stop by their garden. They welcomed us over there to go check it out and such a treat.
Yeah, Matt, their chef.
Matt,
who does special dinners. I think it's every third Monday.
It's their volunteer night, so folks will come and volunteer and help out in the garden, and then they.
But I think on that third, I don't think they're doing it in August, but in September they'll do it. So the third Monday, and Matt, I'm trying to find the photo of him, is the chef. He actually works at Zola in Palo Alto, who we featured before too. So Matt, you can see his little picture there, but get the magazine, you can see it clear. And he made us food. We showed up just for the meeting, and that mushroom soup made me a vegan.
I know.
Almost overnight.
I know. Yeah, they had cauliflower chorizo and the masa gnocchi. 100% vegan, 100% made with produce from their garden.
Native and organic. And then what Alrie is doing is like they did the urban hood, agri-hood. That's right. What her whole philosophy and mindset is that you can build sustainable communities that have their own farming. So if you put in a school should have its own little farm, apartment complex, homes, community. She's got such a great vision, and we're gonna have her on the podcast coming up pretty soon. But
it's very dreamy. You go there and you talk for a bit, and you'll find yourself with a shovel and some dirty hands and helping out.
Yeah, so they're going to be there. And then I think, did we cover? No, there's one person I noticed we did not talk about, and that. Two. Jubo.
Yep. 3.
Wow, who's 3?
Skits.
Oh, that's
Jubo,
2.
and then Rosanna.
Oh, Rosanna. Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Where do you want to start? Who do you want to? I got Jubo open.
Yeah, we've got Jubo open. So this was a full wraparound article by Glow also, so that we don't usually have photographers that do the writing and everything else. Yeah. But there were a couple that Glow took the photos for and wrote, so that was really exciting.
Side note, it's really cool because Glow is interested in doing kind of like fashion, definitely into fashion, but also kind of like native indigenous people's fashion, which is really cool how he's bringing it out. So maybe we should start more with
skits. Yeah.
Because
another pickup party plug, but Skits will be there.
Awesome,
she's going to have a table and a pop-up, and she's going to have some mannequin heads with braids.
Yeah.
So the article really covers like the importance of hair in indigenous culture, Native American culture, and just kind of how Skits is bringing that into the modern day with the kind of spirit that she brings to the work. One of my favorite kind of anecdotes from it is, if I'm having a bad day, Skits says this in the article, I don't work, because like there's so much power that you can give to somebody through doing their hair and like working with their body in that way. And so she's very kind of aware and connected to like the impact that like her mood and like everything else can have on others. So, but Skits will be there. Super exciting. Her name, it mentioned in the article also, was like I guess she always had like really colorful hair when she was growing up, kind of in high school and everything else. So it's a shortened version of Skittles.
Yeah,
Skits.
And then so they'll be there. And then I don't know if Jubo Clothes will be there, but they're in Japantown, and they work out of Coldwater streetwear, which is kind of fun.
Three brothers, yeah,
totally like an eclectic group of different. They each kind of do their own kind of brand and thing, all in kind of one shop. So I don't know. I mean, like Japantown, of course, is like some of the greatest kind of like local boutiques.
Yeah,
like in all of San Jose and the South Bay. I think that it's really good. In Jubo,
streetwear, graphic design. Yeah, their story's really interesting. I mean, the layers upon layers of like what they do in the different styles and all of that. Definitely, you got to check that out.
And then one final person, last but not least, Rosanna, ¿dónde está the spread?
I think it's in the towards
Is
the.
it in? It's Word, so yeah, it should be in the back.
This is when you
Just
find
so-
out you missed a whole article.
Yeah, actually, so if people are, as I'm looking through it, so I should have known this. You might not know the structure of the magazine, but we'll talk about it a little bit. I usually like to start out with some sort of cultural piece, something where there's the intersection between art and culture. So of course, we have the Plaza piece. Then we get to kind of profiles. This is another kind of, Liminal is kind of on space, so that's kind of like the physicalness. Then we got the garden, that's kind of like a physicalness. But she's also an incredible artist, and you can see her drawings, where like the concepts of her thinking behind the garden. And then we go into like more of, I guess, traditional arts in a way. Then usually come out. And then after that, usually go to kind of like style and fashion. And then after the style and fashion, we go to like music, words and music.
Yep.
And so that's the general structure of pretty much every magazine. So Rosanna, since she does art, T-shirts, but a lot of poetry, and she actually is also the co-founder for Eastside Magazine.
Yep.
So
Just
she would be more
boundless talents.
Yeah, educator, right?
Yep. So super fun photo by Polaroid J also.
Yeah.
Always fun to see Jay's work and the layouts.
And written by Mighty Mike McGee. It's so cool that Mighty Mike McGee's writing for us now.
I know.
It's like so awesome.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
How lucky.
Yeah. So is she gonna be tabling
So Rosanna will be tabling.
Awesome, cool.
She'll have some books and some other,
Yeah.
designs. I don't know if she's bringing like the T-shirts and the stickers and everything,
Yeah.
but she should. But she'll be out there. And yeah, I'm really just excited to kind of see the breadth of work and just be able to talk to her about kind of her influences and everything else, right? And I'd say definitely at the pickup party, like, don't hesitate to go up to people and ask them what's up,
Yeah,
I think that's always the most exciting part.
Awesome. Cool, great issue. Super awesome. Again, super eclectic. But I mean, like, it's my philosophy. Like I always say, is like you could eat Chinese food on Monday and Mexican food on Tuesday. Like you don't have to be like, oh, I only do this. You don't have to be into one music type. You don't have to be into one kind of art. I think the breadth of life is being able to learn and to appreciate the artistry. And I think there's a theme that runs through this one. It's interesting to see the connection between finding community, right? Throughout like the whole issue. I think there's a little theme. I think that probably happens in every issue, but you can kind of see that like connecting and people finding their voice and finding community.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, you kind of saying that out loud kind of connected the dots. It kind of different anecdotes from each article kind of was highlighted in my mind with that because I think it's definitely true. So
yeah. So we probably wrapped up this. I have no idea how much time went by, but it seems like it went long. That's why I'm talking so fast.
It feels short.
I don't normally talk this fast with the guests but I want to get through this because nobody cares as much about the magazine as we do, but they care more about the artists, the features. But the next issue will be 17.1, which we kind of talked about. We're kind of doing some stuff with One Culture. The location is going to be either in the gallery or maybe at the fairgrounds. We don't know exactly. Can't
TBD.
say. TBD, but Nexus will be in that one.
It's going to be
152, Santa Cruz. Oh, I forgot the name of that group. That's the
that
crew.
Is
the crew.
Made Fresh
crew. Yeah, they'll be in there. So, and then Cameron, who kind of just, even though he's based out of San Francisco, he's done stuff from Palo Alto, Los Altos, San Jose.
I mean, I saw him across the country doing like a water tower recently, like just amazing.
Right. Yeah. So and he's
Camera One. Yeah.
Yeah, he's super.
So yeah, I mean, definitely tune in for the next one too. I mean, just flowers for the street art graffiti scene in the South Bay. I mean, there's that primer that's going out about lettering and characters, and it'll be a history lesson, and then you kind of get to see history in motion through the work that people are carrying on. So and just legends of the game, man.
Yeah.
Like.
All right. Well, if you haven't got your issue 16.4, it will sell out. Every issue sells out. We try to, because of budget, we want to make sure that we don't have a bunch of them sitting around. So make sure that you get your issue. You know what, though? Don't buy one issue. That's ridiculous because one issue is like 14,
Yep,
$15,
$15.
and especially if you get after you got to pay shipping, it's going to cost you $25, and you can get a membership for 42, get you access to the parties, get you a bracelet so you can get free drinks and all that kind of stuff.
I mean that's always the pitch. You stop by, $42 for the year. You get drink tickets at each party. It pays for itself if you come and party with us. I know that's a big commitment, but it's always a good time.
Yeah, I know, totally. Yeah, and the parties are put on by David E. Valdespino Jr.
And I think the for the parties in particular, the artists and the performances and everything is amazing. You also get to check out new venues in different places. Totally. Like the last pickup party that was at the Silker School of Art and Design at West Valley College.
The building is incredible.
Incredible building, and people were coming there and they were like, "Oh, I've never partied at a community college before." And in the
State Street Market, it was totally cool, kind of like vibe to go up there.
I've gone back there, so many times after that party because it is such a good vibe. So,
last thing I want to say is that every magazine, though, and this is, I definitely want to give a shout out for all the people who helped put it together. I mean, David and I just kind of like direct it. We did do a lot of different stuff, but from the graphic designers, which Jesse Garcia helped out with a few of these, and Sana Chang did a few of them, but also the editors, and the proofreaders like Samantha Hall, Denise
Stallnecker,
Elizabeth Sullivan, Catherine
Hype.
Thank you for helping me out. Gigi Graham. I know I don't want to miss anybody, but there's so many folks. Samantha Track she was out because she had a baby. Her and Kevin, which is cool. Katie Shivers, like so many people, and all the writers. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really just appreciate the magazine is not possible without all it. I mean, there's a list of people here, and
check out the front, and then in the back we usually do headshots of different contributors.
Yeah, especially the people who are newer is usually kind of like the flow.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Raw Riley's in this one. Jason, we got a new photographer, Jason, who's helping us out, and Breeze, and so it's kind of fun. And check out all the promos for different arts venues that are coming up.
Can we cover that for 2 seconds?
No.
We've been doing a lot of work with galleries, just networking
Museums
and interfacing.
And,
we really want the ads and everything in the magazine to not only promote what's going on, but also tell you what's going on culturally in the South Bay. So there's some amazing ad placements from Triton Museum and Empire 7 and Palo Alto
looking
Art
at
Center.
just say Hannah Locke, I'm hoping to get her in a coming up issue. We just want to do that, and then Danilo is going to be coming to town, and we're probably going to have a behind the scenes for that show that's coming up in September 7th. So we're going to probably do a podcast interview and stuff like that with that interview. Just
ICA,
what's going on, ICA, cornerstone of the arts. I mean, it's Rick Holden, Ken Matsumoto, Three Below, and Paul J. All those all those people featured in Content Magazine, of course. Break Room. Man, this is a great magazine. How do I get my hands on one?
Awesome.
All right, so that's it. What are you listening to on your playlist these days?
My playlist. I've been getting a lot of. I'm usually genre based, so I've been getting a lot of what they call cosmic Americana, which is 70s.
Like NASA music?
No, like Flying Burrito Brothers or Graham Parsons.
Okay.
Kind of just trippy psychedelic country music that they were kind of probably getting booed out of roadhouses in the 70s.
Sure.
But it's a interesting.
Pure Prairie League, is there on that?
Probably.
Those guys? Yeah. I'm trying to think of some. It's Cosmic Americana. Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting some interesting
Bob
stuff.
Seger, is he considered? No, he's more rock. Yeah. I'm trying to think of
more country rock. Yeah,
country rock.
Definitely. It's nuanced, but yeah, hit us up. I'll send you a playlist if anybody's curious.
I'll look at that. Yeah. And then, are you reading anything? Well, music for me. I'm in a dry spell. I've been trying to go in and out. I tried a thing. When I was doing layouts for this issue, I just put on graphic design vibes, which was kind of cool. It was kind of a mellow thing. I didn't know any of the tunes and songs. I tried I got to remember that band, but I didn't do it, so I have to go back. I've been trying to do a little bit more. I'm into acid jazzy type stuff we were talking about because your dad, and so I kind of been doing a little bit of that. But one kind of crazy thing, and everybody's going to hate me for this, but I, back in high school, for whatever reason, I got Eddie Money's album, and then I became a Eddie Money fan.
Hey.
So that 2 Tickets to Paradise album, so I had been putting that on a couple times just to take, it just takes me down nostalgic, reminds me of playing soccer with Jerry Baez and all my cool Bushy and all those kind of Eli Pena and all those guys, back in the day. So that I've been kind of putting that on, kind of nostalgic. At my age, you get very nostalgic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like things where you smell something, you go like, oh, I remember when I was a child and I could run, and stuff like that. Anything you reading? Do you read anything?
Reading has been tough lately.
Because you do it for work.
Well,
every day.
no. So book. I was thinking books.
Yeah, books.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I'll say it's probably the same book as my first interview back when I first started in January 2023. But I just picked up a couple magazine subscriptions.
Oh, sweet. Right on.
I was listening to other podcasts for other mag culture.
Yeah, awesome.
And they were just like deep diving into like what their favorite publications are and why. And so I just really felt like a need to check some stuff out. So one of them is Carla, Contemporary Art
for Los Angeles,
Review, LA. Really interesting to see how they function and how they work.
They do a pick-up party. They just had one, or they're having one like August something. I was thinking, I think I want to go down and hang out at
Kindred Spirits. They just turned into.
And on the West Coast,
Yep.
I mean, the West Coast, unless you're a huge magazine like Dwell or Comedy Nastish or whatever, there's not that many like real kind of like publications.
Yep.
And so Carla is a nonprofit now for the arts culture of Los Angeles.
Yep.
Yeah.
And which other one did I pick? I just picked up Bicycle Quarterly, which is published by Renee Hurst, which is a bicycle parts manufacturing company.
Yeah.
Really great profiles in that one. Definitely check it out. It's kind of like the subculture of cycling.
Sure,
bike touring, written by the people that are riding it. It's like 10-page, long form editorial. So that's really fun. And then there's one that I ordered, it's a music mag, and I can't remember what it is because I haven't received it yet, but I think it's like Underground Mag. But they were like covering
Cosmic Americana magazine.
And they probably cover some of that. But there's like Aquarium Drunkard, which is like a really interesting underground magazine, which I am hoping to subscribe to. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. I just started reading a new book. We just finished. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember what it was.
Must have been good.
Blood Meridian.
Oh yeah,
by
Cormac McCarthy.
Which really, I mean, this is what I've been saying. I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast before, but really written so beautifully, but such heinous, horrible scenery. You describe, and a little bit boring, redundant, because it's like these guys riding the horses through the canyon and going and killing people. And really kind of disturbing, but so well written. Like you just read, the words are so beautiful.
Yeah, I'd say in my experience reading Cormac McCarthy, just like his ability to manipulate time with some of those things, right, where it's just like people riding through, it makes you kind of feel that time. Yeah. But then also just like his use of different techniques, right? Like he doesn't use quotation marks, which can kind of like throw you for a loop.
Yeah, when he's doing the conversations.
But manipulating time, I think is
it's
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. So now we're just reading Overstory, which I can't remember, by Power, I think it was, and that was recommended to me by Samantha Hull. And so we're kind of doing that, and I'm only 30 pages in. I just picked it up for the first time a couple days ago. I just read a little bit, and I was like, I really like it so far. It's a really kind of an interesting story, the connection between trees and people, but it's not, like I said, 30 pages in, but it's well written, and so it's kind of interesting. I'm looking forward to doing that one. It's a thick one, so it's going to take me a while.
I'll follow up during our next magazine recap.
Yeah, so let us know if you like us kind of talking about the magazine, and send in some questions and all that kind of stuff. And we can, address some kind of issues. Probably most of the things will be, how come I haven't been featured yet? You're probably on the list. It just hasn't happened yet.
It's a long list. Yeah.
Wait. Trust the process. The right time.
The process.
So anyways, there you go. That's it. 16. What is it again? 16.4. This is what number of issue? 68,
69?
It might be 69 because I know 17.2 is 70.
Okay.
So
69. 68 then.
68. No, because if
4, 1, 2.
Yeah. So 17.1 would be 70. Would be 69. Yeah.
Don't get us with numbers. That's
right. No. Yeah. Because the next one would be the 70th. No, the 69th, and the next one. Yeah, whatever. Do the math. Okay. All right. So that's it. This has been the Content Magazine podcast with
David Eliseo Valdespino Jr.
and Daniel Garcia. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to the Content Magazine podcast. Follow us on social media at Content Mag. Become a member and help us to continue to tell the stories of the South Bay creatives. This episode's music is 408 by Jack Pavlina. Follow him on Spotify and also on his Instagram at Jack Pavlina Music.